Today it's time for Chrysler 200 activities. Let's get started. We get a lot of really cool cars that come to the shop, shiny, brand new, but there's other people out there that need their car fixed too, that don't have a car that's shiny and pretty. We got to fix them all. So we're happy to take on whatever we can work. Maybe we can get it fixed for people and help them out. That's what we're here to do. So this Chrysler 200, we're going to take a look at it today. It's had some few issues. We'll look at them. I don't know what happened. I don't know the story. But when you own a shop, not every single car that comes through the door can be shiny and pretty. They all need fixed. And just as a doctor or a surgeon, you get all walks of life. So we'll take a look around this thing. It came in because it would stall. It won't stay running. And we're going to talk today about how when a customer says, I did this and I replaced that, so those areas you don't need to worry about, and in fact can be still the problem. Let's take a look around this thing. So here's the front of this Chrysler 200. It's a very common sight because there's literally 400 million of these on the road. Well, not exactly, but there's a lot of these on the road. We do have the hood popped, but as we go back, you can see it has some issues here. Maybe they've been into an accident, it pushed this panel back, so when you open the door, it hits that and pops. I do have some questions about these windows here. I'm not sure what happened. I don't know the story. But we've heard of people breaking into a car. It appears someone possibly tried to break out of the car. This is like a fist or something, but it's going out. They're not trying to get in the car, it's going out. Again, I don't know what the story is. I'm not sure what happened here, but it's also on the windshield. A couple of good hits on the windshield, again, from the inside out. But we don't do body work. That's not what we do here. And that's not the complaint. They don't have any issues with that. So go around to the back. It's in decent shape. It has some fading on the bumper. And it's somebody's car. They use it to drive around. Obviously not worried about, concerned about the appearance. But this side appears to be okay until we get to the bumper again. Now I don't do body work, but it very likely will put some zip ties or something, at least hold this up for them. You can see where someone tried to put silicone and glue it on, and that didn't hold. So we might try a couple zip ties to at least keep it up out of the way. You have to be careful with people's cars, even if you have goodwill in your heart to help them. You don't just jump and do stuff to people's cars. I have so many stories, and maybe I'll do a video in the future on some of the stories I've experienced, some of the things I've seen, where you do something like this, put a zip tie on, which this customer won't mind. But I've had customers where you do a goodwill gesture to try to help them, and when they pick up their car, they will absolutely come unglued on your ass. I mean, you really got to be careful. You have goodwill at heart, like I said, but sometimes you just have to ask, do you want us to loop this up for you? You'd be surprised some people say, don't touch it, leave it alone. It's weird. I always thought you do goodwill toward people and you help people. You have to be mindful in this business. Some people don't want it. But again, I don't think it's an issue here. Let's go ahead and hop under the hood. Here's our 2.4 liter. I believe they call it the World engine. They use it in some of the Jeep Compasses, Jeep Patriots, and things like that. It's a decent engine. It's kind of noisy, even from the factory when they were new. They're not known to be high performance or smooth or anything, but they do the job. This one still runs when we can get it to run. I do notice right here, the air filter clips are missing, and who knows how long it's been running, just sucking in raw air with sand and dirt and debris and whatnot. We'll see if we can maybe zip tie that for the customer. Again, we will ask them first and see if they would like us to do that. Again, I wouldn't charge them, it would just be a freebie, but you just never know. So before we dive into what's wrong with this car and what we found, let's let Mrs. Wizard give you guys an interior review.
Okay, ladies and gents, this is definitely going to be a very, very interesting interior review. And yes, the gauge cluster looks lovely back there. I wish I could show you how many miles it has on it, but I can't because, well, the system is absolutely dead. There's just no charge to that battery. But it's looking good. Nice back there. As we move over, the dash is in nice shape, not cracked or anything, a little dusty. Moving down, everything's looking good. If you're noticing, we're at a little bit different angle than we are normally because, well, I am not seated in the driver's seat today. I needed to be in the passenger seat. But everything's looking good. Everything is looking good. A lot of personal items over there. And we can see our automatic gear selector. But if we look at the seat, I'm not seated in the seat because, yes, there are glass pieces all over this seat cover, all from the broken window there. But as we move down, there's more of that. We don't know what's going on. We don't know why the armrest is there. The window switches work. I was able to unlock the door earlier, but that's another mystery we have. But otherwise, it's got a little wear in here. So we're going to skip to our back seat, and we're going to find, oh look, there is that armrest. Looks like it does need a little bit of work as well. That leather is definitely cracking. Nice thing is the headliner's in really good shape. It's not falling down or anything. Unfortunately, it's not the case of the windshield. The steering wheel, as we normally end up, has a cover on it, and again, not sure what's going on underneath. Could be worn, could be there as a protective measure. Don't know. Live in mystery, because we will all not know what's going on underneath that steering wheel cover. So enough of this interior review. Let's get back under the hood and see what's going on.
So the customer states that it stalls. It will run for a little bit and then stall, and sometimes it'll run for a little bit longer and it still stalls, or sometimes it won't start at all, it just clicks. They did advise that they installed a new alternator and a new battery, and I think a second battery. I'm not sure what's going on with how many. But one thing you got to keep in mind is when someone drops off a car as a shop owner or a technician, when they say, I've replaced this, I've replaced that, so you don't need to look in those areas. That, for me, it goes in one ear and out the other, because I'm thinking, that's exactly where I'm going to start. Because it's probably something wasn't installed properly or a bad quality product. Some people, when they go to purchase products or parts for their car, they don't want to spend for the high end. They buy the cheaper ones, and the cheaper ones don't last. You got to keep in mind, we live in an economy now where I've done many videos for you guys and talked to you about how we get brand new parts, brand new out of the box, and they're faulty and even worse condition than the old part. So when someone says, I just replaced that, that's impossible, it can't be this or it can't be that, that's not true anymore. It absolutely can be that. So let's take a look at the alternator they replaced. So you can see it has been replaced. It's a new alternator. It is doing its job, and when I did boost this thing off and start the engine, I noticed some things that were some key indicators to what's wrong with this car. When it was running, which it did run fine when it ran, I had a voltmeter on right here where the battery connections are, and it was jumping to 15, 16, 17 volts and back down to 14. I've seen that happen before, and it's not necessarily a bad alternator. It's where the battery is so short-circuited and so bad that the alternator itself is the only thing keeping the engine running, and it's struggling. It's trying to charge the battery, it doesn't know what the hell's going on. Why is the battery not accepting a charge? So it jumps it up a little bit more, and it really causes issues. Without any booster or any kind of charging system on this, the battery is flat dead. I mean 3 volts, flat dead. So you can't start it without any kind of jumper pack. I did get our battery charger, and I let it sit here for quite a long time, and it jumped into this mode. I'll show you here. So you can see on the battery charger it says 0% battery repair. I've seen this a few times, and when I've seen this message, the battery is dead. In fact, we let it sit here and try to do the repair process for about 4 or 5 hours, and finally it brings up a message that says battery fault, unchargeable. Basically, this battery is toast. So now we know that the battery is junk. It's no good. But you remember the customer's claim. I put a new alternator on it and 1 or 2 new batteries. That shouldn't be the problem. Let's take a look at, first, the battery's hard to get to on these. And let's take a look at the date on that battery. They conveniently located it behind the wheel liner in the wheel well, up under the headlight. You cannot get to it without taking the wheel off, taking the wheel liner out, and pulling the battery out. It's not fun to do. It pays an hour just to do the battery. But if we look at the date, we can just barely see in front of the terminal, December of 2024. So the battery is only 6 months old. You say, well, it can't be that. Yes, it can. I don't care if it's brand new. I don't. And it's sad because it shouldn't be a problem. If a part is brand new or a battery is brand new, something's brand new, you would expect that can't be the problem. I should have a quality product. But you can't in 2025. Brand new parts are junk right out of the box, like I mentioned. So this battery is toast. We're going to give the customer an option that they themselves can warranty it or replace it. Again, I mentioned it's an hour labor to take all this stuff apart to get to it. And then batteries aren't $50 anymore. They're $150, $250. They can be very expensive. So it could easily be $300 to $400 to change out this battery in this car. Here's the thing though. There could be something else wrong with this car, but I can't get to that point until we get past the hurdle of this dead flat battery. It's dead shorted. It's shot. So we're going to have to call the customer and see how far do they want to go into this car. And maybe they're going to warranty it and pick up the car and leave. Maybe they're going to let us change it out. I don't know. But just wanted to show you guys that sometimes when someone has replaced a part, it still can be that part is bad. So let's pretend for a moment we replaced the battery and it still stalls, still acts up. What could it be? It could be a bad relay, a power relay. It could be a series of other things. It could be bad connections, bad grounds. But until we get a good battery, we really don't know what we're messing with. It won't even charge the battery to let us do any testing. So you can't test a dead electrical system. Not very well anyways. You say, well, just swap out a good battery you have laying around in the shop. It still takes an hour. What if the customer says, I don't want to pay for that? You just got stuck doing free labor. You paid your mechanic for work that's not going to be paid for to you. You have to be careful with these things, especially when you get a vehicle like this, that the vehicle itself may not be worth a whole lot of money. You've got to kind of know where's that fine line. We don't want to throw $1,000 at this thing and then the customer's like, the car isn't worth that. Why did you do that? We always call with estimates first. Especially in this situation, we know it needs a battery for sure. It could be further, we could need more. We will not explore those possibilities until the customer allows us to put a battery in and gives us the okay to go further and dive deeper. The customer in their own mind may have a predetermined budget limit of $300 to $400. And it might be that if we're going to be crossing into 5, 6, 7, they're like, nope, I'm out, I'm done. So we need to discover, is that what we're going to do, or are we going to fix it? One option to save money would be to take the car back home. I think they towed it with a friend's trailer or something, I'm not sure. They themselves pull that battery out and warranty it wherever they bought the battery and put it in. It could solve their problem altogether. But at the very least, it could get it to a position where we could go further to figure out what's wrong and we wouldn't have the labor of changing out the battery. That's some of the options we have to give this customer. In any professional business, like I mentioned, it could be doctors, attorneys, mechanic shops, anything like that. You're going to get all walks of life. We have to be respectful of all the different types of cars or people or things you're going to deal with. So it is kind of strange though with the situation with the glass. I don't know what happened there. I hope it wasn't someone got hurt or I don't know. But we have to focus on what's wrong with this car, what's the issue that needs to be resolved, and just move it out. That's all we can do here. If you're curious what kind of tools we're going to use to work on this car or dive in and figure out what else could possibly be wrong, check our Amazon affiliates link in the description below. A lot of the tools we use in the shop are listed for sale there. And if you purchase anything there, we get a small cut and we really appreciate it. And we have a very full schedule, which means you better hit the subscribe button because there's so many more great videos to come. Thanks for watching.